Welcome to the 19th episode of Global Heat Map. This is an initiative by USI of India where we take you through all the important international events and strategic issues of last week and with an analysis to help out the candidates who are appearing in any kind of competition which involves these affairs. In today's episode, we will analyze the takeaways from Prime Minister Modi's visit to USA and France, American peace effort for Russia-Ukraine war, developments in Israel-Hamas war, and President rule in Manipur. What does it mean and what is the way forward? Prime Minister Modi visited United States of India and met President Trump. He was the fourth international leader to meet him and first amongst the major countries, which holds a fair amount of importance in a manner that it cemented the comprehensive strategic partnership. It also helped in cooperation in energy, defense technology, space, and other critical minerals. These were the main subjects on which they discussed. We all know that United States is important. It is the superpower. It controls the financial system of the world. It also controls a fair amount of information system of the world, and uh, we need the technology of United States to develop and become Viksit Bharat. But at the same time, India too is very important for United States. And the factors which indicate that is, firstly is the China factor, which everybody knows that China is a challenge to United States, and India is important for United States to tackle that challenge. Secondly, and the most important reason is the geographical location. Irrespective of the governments and irrespective of many other factors, the geographical location of India dominates the Indian Ocean, and it is at the root of the critical sea lines of communication of China, and also controls various choke points. And therefore, also, if US has to give away the global policing role, which they do not want to get engaged in far too many things, which they have been, then they need a very strong strategic partner in Asia. Now, that strong strategic partner, it can't be China because they are the competitors, it can't be Russia. So, therefore, at the end of the day, it is India only which can be a strong strategic partner, which is a stable democracy. And that is why USA needs India as much as India needs USA. Now, what really happened, some of the takeaways were that both sides decided that by 2030 they should upgrade their trade to $500 billion. Presently, it is $129 billion, and India has a trade surplus of $45.6 billion, which is not very comfortable to President Trump, and therefore a lot of measures have been taken in a manner that he has offered to sell a lot of things, which includes the defense technology, which includes the drones, AI-enabled drones. He has also offered F-35. We will have to see whether we actually take that offer or not, because there are other competitors as well, and India will have to do a fair amount of cost benefit analysis, because the military hardware which USA is offering is certainly costlier than the other options, although it also has a better technology. That's also a factor. So I think India will consider all these factors together. Tariff is a very major issue. India has the highest tariff amongst G20 countries, and we can certainly, when it comes to averaging it out against United States, we are almost charging almost about 17% as compared to 3% of United States. But then tariff alone is not the balancer, and therefore I think Prime Minister Modi has been quite successful in negotiating. The tariff discussions are going to go on. The blanket tariffs on India has been postponed to some extent, but at the same time, I think we can also look at buying more things for balance of trade. Similarly, buying more energy may also help, and therefore, with all kinds of other offers like Javelin missile and others, if we buy more, perhaps this trade imbalance can be set right, and the American concerns can also be taken care of. The another interesting thing which happened was that both countries are on the same page as far as terrorism is concerned. 26/11 attack and perpetrators should be punished was voiced in the joint statement as well, although Pakistan did not like it very much. Like China also did not like F-35 being offered to India very much. So both of them did criticize, so, but that is quite okay as far as this strategic balancing is concerned. The extradition of uh, Rana, who is one of the accused of Mumbai terror attack, was also agreed upon, which is a big plus, and that also did cause some concerns in Pakistan. As far as taking back illegal immigrants are concerned, India has agreed. At the same time, India has also voiced that the ecosystem which is influencing this exodus of the illegal immigrants, that also should be targeted, because the ecosystem involves the agencies which are sending from here, at the same time the agencies which are receiving there in US. So therefore, both sides, I think the action is required. As far as India is concerned, on its part, it is accepting the immigrants which have been declared and proved to be Indians. Although India has certainly voiced concerns on the graceful exit of all these immigrants. So I think in that that issue has reasonably been resolved. As far as US is also trying to increase the oil and natural gas sale to India. Uh, India is the third largest consumer, and more importantly, 85% of it exports. It imports from outside countries, and therefore is a very important market which US would like to tap. Similarly, the other importance of India is also again a very important growing market, with Europeans not having that kind of disposable income because of high cost of living. I think Indian middle class is growing, and the consumer market of India is expanding, and therefore even China and USA both will compete for this market as well. On technological transfer side, I think ICET has been upgraded to trust, that is transforming relationship utilizing strategic technologies. There is also point about the rare earth cooperation as far as the minerals are concerned, and as far as the chip manufacturing and other initiatives are concerned. But all these are in discussion stage. I think much more discussion will have to go on to be able to see some of these initiatives going and seeing the light of the day. Similarly, uh, the earlier 123 civil nuclear agreement has also been upgraded. We are looking at much better designed nuclear reactors from United States, and again negotiations are on, and perhaps something will materialize on that as well. As far as France is concerned, Prime Minister had basically gone to co-chair the International Artificial Intelligence Summit along with the President Macron. But when we talk of the bilateral relation, France is a very important relationship. They were the first strategic partners when we India started making strategic partners, and France is a resident power of Indian Ocean as well as Pacific Ocean. They have the real estate, and that is why India is quite keen that they also be taken into account when we are looking at joint domination and joint exploitation of the resources of Indian Ocean, as well as rule based order in Indian Ocean as well as in the Pacific Ocean. Both countries also gel well with each other as far as the strategic autonomy is concerned, because both have a point of view uh, to be to for a multipolar world, as well as to have some kind of strategic autonomy from USA as well as China, and not being and the strategic choices not being hostage to either of them. There is also nuclear energy partnership there as with France as well. India is looking at modular nuclear reactor as well as other modern nuclear reactors, uh, and the people-to-people contact is increasing, and that's why a consulate being inaugurated in Marseille. At the same time, India is also partner along with other countries to international thermonuclear experimental reactor also, which will be for mutual benefit because it's a fusion reactor. The other important news which made headlines was uh, the American peace effort to end the Russia-Ukraine war. Obviously, as was announced in the uh, elections, that it will end on the first day. That is far too much complicated to be ended on the first day. But they did make fair amount of effort, and in that effort, what we can see now is that President Trump and Putin are scheduled to meet in Saudi Arabia perhaps next week. And in the meantime, their staff and is working it out as to what could be the kind of discussions there. At the same time, the U.S. Defense Secretary of Defense, has clarified to the other NATO members some harsh realities, like the NATO membership of Ukraine is not realistic and is unlikely to happen. And secondly, uh, returning to 2014 boundary is also unrealistic. That has been flagged to them. Similarly, US has made its stance very clear that there will be no US troops in Ukraine at all, as well as even if the peacekeepers are placed in Ukraine, then those peacekeepers, even if they are from NATO countries, they will not be governed under Article 5. In other words, if there is an exchange, a military exchange, or let's say the firing between Russians and those peacekeepers, it is not that USA will automatically get roped in into this war. Strategically, USA wants to get disengaged with this war and concentrate more on the real challenge, which is China, and perhaps shift their attention to Indo-Pacific and some other important issues, which are their internal issues and their internal growth. Apparently, they also want the Europe to do the heavy lifting as far as their own defenses and security is concerned, and that's why they want them to increase their defense spending from 2% to 5%. In fact, many of them have not even reached 2%, which was heavily criticized by the US Vice President while he was speaking in the Munich conference. Similarly, the reality also being flagged is that continuation of war is not going to achieve anything, uh, and therefore there is a need to perhaps put an end to this war. USA did give an offer of to Ukraine that the payment can't be free, or all the aids cannot be free. Strike a deal for rare earth material, and Ukraine apparently has rejected that deal because they need some kind of security guarantees before they sign any deal of of this kind. At the same time, since President Trump and Putin are meeting each other, Europe and Ukraine, they feel isolated and they feel that they are cut off. I think enough assurance has been given by the Vice President and others while speaking to them, that they will be taken on board later. But first, the broad contours of this war must be taken into account. In any case, they were not the major stakeholders. They were, as it is, proxies of Biden administration, and Europe did compromise their energy interests, and Ukraine compromised all its interests under Zelensky to get to provoke Russia into this war. At the same time, although Russia has invaded, there is no doubt about it, but then enough reasons have also been made by Biden administration to provoke Russia. So that is the status, and President Trump does not think that it is his war, it is somebody else's war, and he doesn't want to get tagged along with it. As far as President Trump's plan for Gaza was concerned, we talked about it last time, but then the fact is that plan is not working. But the advantage of announcing that plan was that, and the threat uh, that if all the hostages are not released by last Saturday, which has already passed, 12 o'clock, then hells will fall. That is what he mentioned. But then the fact is that earlier, the only advantage of that was that Hamas was almost about to close further release of hostages. But it is now going through with all the releases for the first phase. So, three more hostages have been released in exchange of 369 prisoners, that is Palestinian prisoners, and this is the sixth set of prisoners which has been released. And yet the second phase seems to be difficult because not very much negotiations have taken place, and Israel seems to be getting ready for starting the military action again. America also has been giving them a fair amount of military hardware. Some more has gone now in terms of the heavy bombs as well, which were stopped earlier. And while all the Arab countries are also getting together because they don't subscribe to this plan and they are opposing this plan. But then the Secretary of Defense of United States has also told them to give an alternate plan if they don't agree to this plan. And I think much more discussions are going to continue. I think the President Trump's peace plan is also difficult to implement. Also, that has also got whole lot of problems and whole lot of opposition from the allies as well as within. At the same time, there is no worthwhile alternatives also because two-state solution. Everybody talks of two-state solution, but that has also not worked for quite some time. So I think a de novo approach perhaps will be required to handle that. We recently saw after a long period of violence in Manipur, uh, president rule has been declared in Manipur. I think it's a welcome step, and we all know that this problem is a old problem in a manner that ethnic conflict between Metis and Kukis and Zos were existing. There were problems regarding land rights. There were also problems regarding control of over the business because Metis are so located in the valley that they have better control over business. At the same time, but both sides have got gangs who control either business as well as the drug and poppy cultivation and all. All this also is also being controlled, and therefore there is a power struggle between both the groups. At the same time, there is also a fair amount of politics involved. Uh, and to add to the problem, they happen to be located next to Myanmar border, which is all itself is in a state of turmoil, and a fair amount of immigrants do come in, and the Metis blame cookies for letting them get in, and things like that. So therefore, how this president rule is going to help is that perhaps the region or that state was looking for impartial and neutral role. Uh, this chief minister being of one particular ethnic group. If I talk about the reasons, then the reasons are that ethnic conflict had been earlier. The land rights problem is also there between the two communities, that is Methi community as well as Kuki and Zo community. There is also a power struggle to control the business. At the same time, the illegal trade of drug and poppy, control of that also becomes important, and both sides they struggle. Then there is politics involved as far as the political parties are concerned, and to add to all these problems, this state happens to be on the border with Myanmar, and Myanmar itself is under a fair amount of internal turmoil, and that is why you have whole lot of illegal immigrants getting into Manipur, and Metis blaming cookies for getting those or allowing them to be in Manipur and therefore changing the demographic pattern. So, these are some of the reasons, and what we visualize is that president rule is going to help in a manner that there is going to be the direct control of the center there. The government will be neutral because earlier the problem was that the chief minister was from one of the communities, and irrespective of what he does, the other communities normally takes it as if all his actions are biased. So whether they are biased or not, that is immaterial. But no solution was being found, or no worthwhile dialogue was happening because of chief minister being of one particular community. So I think the president rule is likely to help. It is likely to rebuild trust, especially amongst the tribals, and we can also hope for some kind of impartial law and order enforcement as we go along. So, as I see that in Manipur, the way ahead is that dialogue with all the parties which are concerned under a neutral environment is a must, and perhaps with president rule, this environment will get created. There is a need to activate discussions along with cracking down on the militants. That is important. Similarly, border control is also important. The FMR, I am told, is been cut down from 16 kilometers to 10 kilometers. So that may perhaps narrow down or reduce the numbers of the immigrants which come. Similarly, there are a lot of people who have been displaced, internally displaced. They need rehabilitation and they need compensation, and center can directly control that under the president rule. The other way ahead requirement is that we need to have fast track courts. Judiciary has to be active. Similarly, so many failures have taken place by so many people, but not very many have been held accountable. So we need to fix accountability and take actions on that as well. There is a need to bring up reconciliation committees, and there is also need to have inter-community dialogue. So these are some of the steps. I am sure the government would be working on these steps, and so would the local security and the security establishments of the center which are there. These were the important events which happened last week. We'll see you next week with all the events which happen next week. Thank you very much.